I think we're still so early in the
Okay.
Bitcoin story. I'm public on record saying I think Bitcoin hits 250 to $1 million in this cycle. So now I'm speaking the next like 10 to 18 months. And that's not, what did you say, 70%? I mean, that's a lot of percent. So
Why do you think it's going to go up so fast, so high?
So I think it's the best expression of currency debasement. I think it's the best expression of the problem at hand, right? So it's a mirror. Bitcoin's a mirror. I look in the mirror, what do I see? Some ugly shit. That's why. And so I think it's going to reflect the issues.
Jack Mallers thinks that the current geopolitical setup in the world is about to come to an end. The United States and Western countries have begun to weaken over the last few decades, and the root of their problems comes down to one thing: fiat money. Jack sees money as a representation of a human's time and energy. When countries and central banks are able to print their own money, they are borrowing their own time and energy from the future. With debt to GDPs all around the world exceeding 100% and climbing, this can only end in disaster. This is why Jack believes we're going to see Bitcoin hit between $250,000 to $1 million in this cycle. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video, where Jack breaks down why Bitcoin is the only answer to a deeply flawed and corrupt monetary system. But before that, today's video is brought to you by Crypto.com. If you still haven't got a crypto card yet, you're living in the past. With traditional cards, you have to pay annual fees, they take percentages, and some banks charge you at every transaction. That's not the case with the Crypto.com Visa card. With a Crypto.com Visa card, you can spend your crypto anywhere you want, and the benefits are insane. With your Crypto.com Visa card, you can earn up to 5% back in Crow rewards on every transaction, enjoy 100% cashback on Spotify, Netflix, and Amazon as a new customer for the first 6 months, get complimentary access to airport lounges and elevate your travel experience, and flaunt your style with the sleek and stylish metal card. Now, Crypto.com is currently giving out a $25 new user sign-up bonus for Jamie Tree viewers. Here's how to get your $25 bonus and start earning up to 5% back. First off, download the Crypto.com app by clicking the first link in the description or scanning the QR code on screen now. Second, sign up using our referral code nutty for your instant $25 bonus. Thirdly, once you've signed up and have been approved, here's how to get your Crypto.com card. Tap the card tab at the right of the navigation panel, select your preferred card tier based on the required cardholder Crow staking or lockup amount. I personally have a Ruby Red card. The only requirement is you lock up 400 USD of Crow for 180 days, which is then unlocked. Then accept terms and conditions. And you'll have to have sufficient Crow in your crypto wallet for the 180-day stake or lockup. Finally, submit your delivery address. Then you'll get your Crypto.com Visa card, start making transactions, earning rewards, and enjoying the perks. So to claim your $25 bonus and earn up to 5% back on all your spending, click that first link in the description to get started with Crypto.com today. Now, back to the video.
I think so. I think we're probably nearing the end of the geopolitical setup that we have today. My favorite way to think about it is through global debt to GDP. So I think of money as our time and energy in an abstracted form. What I mean by that is you do this podcast, in exchange for this podcast, you get money, right? I work on strike. In exchange for that, I get money. So my collective contributions to society and what I wake up and do every day, I get money. So money's an abstraction of our time and energy. I think governments being able to borrow their own currency is as close to time travel as we've ever come to. And here's what I mean. What I mean by that is that I'm effectively allowed to borrow the time and energy from the future, right? So if money is our abstracted time and energy, and as a government, I have my own currency that I can borrow against, that means I'm borrowing time and energy from the future. And so when I look at global debt to GDP at something well over 300%, that means that they've borrowed a lot of time and energy from our future with no growth to pay it back. And that's a huge problem, and that loss has to be realized. And I'm not a macroeconomist. I don't have a college degree. That's as simple as I think about it. I think it's helpful to think about money in the form of time and energy, because then it becomes real. People are always like, well, why don't you carry the debt forward? Why don't you print the money? It's like, well, no. It's not a piece of paper. It's all of our time, energy, our contributions to this world all of our lives. And so who's going to realize that loss? If we're entering the future with a hole in our balance sheet of time and energy, whose time and energy is going to pay that back? And I think they have two options. Either they can let the banking system fail, the bond market fail, and that's whose time and energy will be making us all whole. So Jamie Dimon's time and energy, all the bondholders' time and energy, all the banking system's time and energy, or they have to debase the currency and take the time and energy of the collective populace. And the market is now starting to lean towards the fact that they're going to weaken the currency to make whole on the time and energy they borrowed that they can't pay back. So that is how I think about it. That is why I think it's terrifying as an investor. And then that's why I think Bitcoin I think it's the best expression of fiat debasement. It is the antithesis of fiat currency. It has no central bank. It has no government. Its monetary policy is fixed. Its supply is capped. It's everything that fiat isn't. And so if your problem is fiat debasement, then it's best expressed through Bitcoin. So you're taking the opposite. It's a put option on the existing system. It's long vol, right? Like, I don't know, I'm talking trader speak, but that's what you want. And traditionally you try and find that through something, right? Gold. Here's this collection of chemicals that like kind of gets me close. Real estate. In theory, they can't print any more land. Does that mean they can't print any more real estate? No, of course. I mean, I'm sitting here in fucking New York City. They could build pretty high buildings, but like, I don't know, I'm kind of close. Bitcoin is the only instrument in your portfolio that we humans created to solve this exact problem. Everyone has their own interpretation of the white paper, but I mean, come on, give me a break. Satoshi, right after 0809, created it and said, central bankers, I can't trust them. And so this is the best expression of the problem at hand. And so, and in more plain speak, what that means is that it goes up the most. So for those that, need to put two and two together, that means it's going to be the most performant. So why does Wall Street want it? I have been more performant than Ken Griffin for 10 years. That's why they want it. People aren't stupid, right? You either have to work 10 times as hard to outperform a Bitcoin holder, or you just own Bitcoin. I think we're still so early in the Bitcoin story. I'm public on record saying I think Bitcoin hits 250 to a million in this cycle. So now I'm speaking the next like 10 to 18 months. And that's not, what did you say, 70%? I mean, that's a lot of percent. So
why do you think it's going to go up so fast, so high?
So I think it's the best expression of currency debasement. I think it's the best expression of the problem at hand, right? So it's a mirror. Bitcoin's a mirror. I look in the mirror, what do I see? Some ugly, fucked up shit. That's why. And so I think it's going to reflect the issues. And that's the reason Wall Street wants all these ETFs too, is Bitcoin is the only free market in the world. It's the only like pure human. It's volatile. It reacts to the world we actually live in. It makes moves. It makes noise. It makes stories. It makes headlines. And that's life. And that's why they want that. I mean, banks are making money on these ETFs. They're not making money owning bonds. And so I think for all of those reasons, it will directly reflect the world that we're living in today. And I think that world's very, very banged up. I think central banks have gone through progressively trying to price fix markets to keep everything together. And what market is up next? The all mother of all markets, the bond market, the sovereign debt market. And so how much money is that? We're looking at the dollar yen swap line that just opened. If the US government, if the Treasury is going to be giving unlimited dollars to Japan and China to protect their currencies, you're going to get 2-3 COVIDs in this cycle as far as stimulus and printing. People are too fixated on the cost of capital as far as rates. They need to be more fixated on the amount of capital, which is they're still printing dollars. It doesn't matter that rates are at 5.5%. It's still inflationary. And so for those reasons, I think, how am I supposed to predict the most fixed asset in the history of mankind against the biggest fucked up problem that central banks have ever had to try and solve? Come on, 250 to a million. I feel super confident about that. So 250 to a million. And the reason that's a large delta, but
that's why I'm laughing.
Yeah. But people, it's like, how do you price predict a piece of paper that, is being debased aggressively?
Yeah.
But
I don't even think 250, barring some event that we don't see, I think one of the pieces that I keep coming back to, and I could be wrong on this, right? But I've been thinking about two different components as to like, the price will go up, right? Obviously, I'm excited about that. I'm incentivized for that to happen. But one, we have a new type of holder 5 years ago, you, me, and everybody else, like we're idiots. We would just buy Bitcoin, hold it. Literally, there was nothing you could do to convince us to sell it.
Yeah.
Wall Street buys the ETF. They're not even buying real Bitcoin, right? They buy the ETF. If they put a 1% allocation in and it doubles, they're going to sell half because they're going to rebalance, right? Like that's just their whole game, is basically just like do this rebalance game, all this stuff. So like as the price increases, again, it's a variable. We don't know how much sell pressure that is, but it's a new type of sell pressure that previously wasn't there because Bitcoiners never rebalanced. So you get like weird dynamics where like as you add in these people who are basically, I'll say it lovingly, like nerds.
Sure.
And they have all these like portfolio theories and rebalancing and like all this stuff. It's just not the like hardcore Bitcoiner who buys, holds, and like that illiquid market. Every net new dollar has such upward movement.
I just think that that's overcomplicating something super simple. When I say 250 to $1 million, I'm effectively saying Bitcoin's mispriced. And so if someone who's an ETF holder is going to constantly rebalance their portfolio, I still think it's mispriced. I think that that's going to be met with market demand, and that market demand is then going to say, hey, thanks for your ETF flow. I'm going to take it into physical Bitcoins on my cold card at home. So I think that...
Why is it mispriced? Like, how do you think about where it should be priced today?
Against the debasement that's upcoming is what I think. So I think...
So it's forward looking to the debasement.
Correct. Yeah. So I think, I don't think that Bitcoin's price as a reflection of the upcoming debasement is dependent on how some asset manager plans on rebalancing, right? It's the, same as like, if asset managers rebalanced Lamborghinis, then like they'd actually be worth 50 grand instead of 200 grand. No, they're worth 200 grand because people are willing to pay 200 grand for them. So I think people will be willing to pay $250,000 for a Bitcoin based on the mess that I think, there's a massive hole and there's a loss that has to be realized. That loss is going to come through debasing the currency. Asset prices are going to go up. And what is the best asset and the most performant asset? What's the best money in human history? And so I think that has to be accurately priced. And it doesn't really matter what some guy on Wall Street thinks in regard to his own portfolio. It's his loss if he sells it.
So that concludes our deep dive into Jack Mallers' powerful prediction for Bitcoin and his views on the current geopolitical and financial landscape. As we've explored, the reliance on fiat money and the unsustainable debt to GDP ratios worldwide are setting the stage for a significant economic shift. Mallers' belief that Bitcoin could reach between $250,000 to $1 million in this cycle underscores the urgency of transitioning to a more sound and fair monetary system. Bitcoin stands as a beacon of hope against the backdrop of a deeply flawed and corrupt financial system. Its potential to reshape our economic future is more relevant now than ever. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.